Hey guys, so I wanted to make a video. So the Lord told me to wear red, and I met an Uber driver. Basically, like spent my birthday with an Uber driver, and we went to the after hours. We ate, and like I felt like it was very significant because I realized that I've never spent like any birthday with my dad, and like here was this Uber driver, and he listened to me talk. He was almost my dad's age. And today, my friend was saying like how should your dad listen to you if you don't even respect him? And I said respect is not given, it's earned. I was like, you have no idea how it feels to not have the support that the emotional support that most people grow up with, or not most, maybe half the population of people grow up with, right? To have family celebrating your birthday, things like that. And I just tried to call my dad, and I said, I don't know, he picked up, but like it's just in the 32 years of my life, I've never spent one birthday with my dad because he wasn't around. He lived in Taiwan, and that's a lot of time, not spent with your dad. And I was able to spend time with someone like my dad's age, and we ate together, we talked. He bought me a balloon. The lady who sells roses, she gave me an extra rose. And then he took me home. And I think the reason that I get so mad, like my friend's you don't even respect your dad. Why would he listen to you? I'm like, you have no idea what a child goes through when their parents aren't around. The heartbreak is so deep. I just got really mad because it's like telling a child that they're not allowed to have what they want, And it's telling them it's their fault that their parents aren't around, but it's not. And I was telling my friend, you're not even there for your kids. How can you tell? How can you say that I don't respect my dad? I'm just so tired of people putting the blame on others when you're the parent. You gave birth to kids, and if you have emotions and feelings for your kids, like tell them. Like be expressive. Like don't withhold love from a child. Like if I had a kid, I would tell them every single day that I love them. Like I would never neglect them. I would never like withhold love from my children, you know? And for a father to say, "Oh, my kids don't care about me," that is so egotistical and prideful because it does not even matter if your kids seem to not care about you. Your job as a parent is to show them love. I don't care how much your kids rebel, like, you cannot have such a weak heart that because your kids seem to not care about you, that you stop trying. You're the parent. And so, today, the Lord, basically basically a few weeks ago, I had a divine appointment, and it was a man in a post office, and I asked him for a ride. So today, he came to pick me up, and went to go eat, and I felt led to call my dad, so I called my dad, and I was like, "It's my birthday," and he was like, "Happy birthday." And we were on Facebook Messenger, and it was the first time he's ever said happy birthday to me. It's just been really hard because I realized, that was really preventing me from moving forward and, getting married because I had so much, pain inside of me that it was, preventing me from, really connecting. And honestly, right now, I can hear God say, to don't call my dad, but it just hurts too much to, confront him and tell him, how I feel because it's just too hurtful, you know? Like, it's hard to show this side of me, this vulnerable side of me, right? Because I didn't realize it that, I would hold in my emotions when I saw my dad. Thank you. Um, I didn't realize that, I would hold in so much emotion when I saw my dad when I flew to Taiwan. Um, it was really hard for me to express how I felt to him, and and I realized that's part of vulnerability is learning to express how you feel to your loved ones. That you can't just ignore them. Like I appreciate your encouragement, but what God has been teaching me is you have to learn to be vulnerable with your family. If you can't do that, you can't do it with people you're gonna be friends with. You can't do it with your potential spouse. So I'm gonna try to call my dad. It'll be hard. And even though so many people just tell me you need to move on, you're an adult, but it's if I can't even express how I feel to my earthly father, how am I gonna do it to my husband? How am I gonna be vulnerable with my husband? And so part of the healing and the process of dating and everything has been to confront the feelings I feel towards my dad, the feelings of anger, the feelings of sadness, the feeling of bitterness, the feeling of see, he didn't pick up. I tried to call because why? I texted him. I was like, I just realized that, like, I've never spent a birthday with you. These are hard truths for a grown man to hear because it's like, sure, you can have feelings of guilt, but like to come to a place of vulnerability with your child and say, look, I feel the pain too. Like, I feel the pain of not being around. I feel the guilt. I feel the shame. I feel like it's just crazy because like I really did not know. I didn't realize. I like cry. Um, I didn't realize like how much healing still needed to go on. That like this spirit of rejection, this feeling of rejection can come from a place of like I pastor lost sheep. I find sheep, right? And I prophesy to people, but I didn't realize how deep this wound, this father or mother wound can can be, and how detrimental, right, to growing close to people it can be. So if you feel distant from your father or mother, it can also create distance in your relationships where you're not able to be vulnerable, you're not able to be sad, to be angry, to be for me, I felt that if I expressed anger to my dad, it would push him away. It would make me him feel even more guilty. So what did I do? I people pleased. So when I saw him in Taiwan, what would happen is I would pretend that I was okay. Oh, dad, I'm so happy to see you. I'm angry, but like I'm happy to see you. So I would only express the positive things so that I wouldn't push him away. I wouldn't push someone away. And so I realized like I pent up a lot of anger. I pent up a lot of grief because I didn't want people to see a negative side of me. And God started to show me like you need to feel these emotions because it's not healthy to suppress it. It's not healthy to keep those emotions in. You have to tell people how you feel. And so whether it's, hey, I like you a lot, I have feelings for you, and I'm sad that there's no future, or hey, dad, I'm sad that you weren't there for any of my birthdays, or maybe it's anger. Hey, I'm angry that you spoke to me like this, that it hurt my feelings. So like the more you're able to express yourself, especially to your parents, the more you're able to be vulnerable with those around you and to do the same with your friends, you know? Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Okay, so someone said a lot of people don't realize that even though they're your family members, they don't deserve to be in your life if they don't show you the respect you're showing them. Well, that's the thing is like you have to be vulnerable. Like that's our society. Society says just cut them off, don't talk to them, whatever. But when you're ready, when your heart is actually ready for love, you have to start telling them how you actually feel. So like if you're angry at them, you tell them that you're angry at them. If you're hurt by them, you tell them, "Hey, what you said hurt my feelings." That's vulnerability. Our society teaches the kind of harshness and pride and ego that teaches us to not push past the hardships. That's why a lot of marriages fail because they don't push past pride. Pride is when we say, I don't want to be vulnerable. I don't want to say to someone, "Hey, you hurt my feelings." I don't want to say to someone, "Hey, I'm angry. I don't want to talk to you right now." because you hurt my feelings. We're scared to be vulnerable, so what we do is we distance ourselves. That's the easiest way, and I've done that. I've done that so many times. I've literally like cut so many people off. Someone today just showed me their block list on Facebook, and it was probably like 50 to 100 people. He has blocked 50 to 100 people. And I was like shocked. I was like, oh my God, you have a lot of undealt with anger. And God was showing me whoever I talk to, whoever I meet every single day, literally, God is showing me, hey, this is what will happen if you don't confront them. It's not just about like, oh, they did me wrong. Oh, cut them off. Or they did me wrong. So like, I'm not going to talk to them. But it's also like, hey, let me get to the point where I can confront them and say, look, you hurt my feelings and I felt really hurt about it. And I'm going to be vulnerable enough to show you my tears. I'm going to be vulnerable enough to show you my anger. And that's been the hardest thing with my dad, especially. It's like, I'm angry that like he hasn't been there for me, but I'm also sad that he wasn't there for me. Is that going to push him away? I don't know, but it's honestly like I've talked to him 3 times in 2 years. 3 times, but in the last 2 weeks, 3 times. And I'm like shocked because I'm like, whoa, he's responding. I called him 40 to 50 times in 2 years with no response. The only thing he wrote me was wear a mask. So that is what God is showing me, that prophetically and in the spirit, that God is breaking through and breaking through to the deepest parts of our hearts, healing that part of our heart so that we don't walk in hardness, right? And it's like, trust me, I've been there. Even today, I cussed someone out. I cussed a friend out because he didn't respect my boundaries. And I was like so angry. I can even like I can even feel like as I cry, like all this snot is coming out. But I had a habit of like, especially with guys, right? They wanted to argue with me. They wanted to like debate with me, and I would get so angry that I would literally shut down and I would have to hang up. Like I literally had no more emotions. I had no capability of even continuing that conversation. That's how angry I would feel. But that's why, because my heart was already broken. My heart already felt deprived of because of the absence of my father. Because I wanted my father to be present. I wanted a father figure. So when a guy, a male, would try to criticize me or tell me what to do or was very mean to me, I completely shut down and was like, I don't want him in my life. I don't need him in my life. Because why? My heart already felt deprived of. I already felt like I didn't have what I wanted. So like God was showing me like you need to tell your father how you feel, even though it may push him away. But like be courageous. Tell him that you're angry. Tell him that you're sad. Like be vulnerable. And that's the kind of emotions that need to come up in marriage, in relationship, because I realized with my ex, I, I literally felt like I was walking on eggshells, that I wasn't allowed to express how I felt. That when I did, when I cried, those emotions were not validated or accepted, that I was seen as too emotional, too much, that I felt too intensely. And it's like, no, like I literally like have been healing so much in the last month that like every single day I cry like once a day. And God is just like breaking through to my heart, like breaking the barriers. Thank you. Just breaking. And so like I just wanted to record my journey with you, and I hope that it's helpful to you, that when you are ready, right? Like God brings the breakthrough. I wasn't ready to face all of this. I wasn't ready to, and I didn't realize that I needed to, but like God told me like, "Hey, your husband's coming." And so if my husband's coming, I thought, well, I'm just gonna like romantically meet someone and that's it. But God had so much more in store for me. He said, look, there's things you need to face with your dad, like relationally, in order for you to heal from those wounds and then move forward. So every person that I met, like I said, I've been on a lot of dates. I've talked to a lot of guys. I've probably swiped through all of LA and San Diego. But all of the people that I've met, they had similar stories that helped me heal. As I talk to them, they're like, oh yeah, like my parents divorced when I was young. Oh, my dad's an alcoholic. I'm like, my dad's an alcoholic. Oh, my mom's this, like my mom's critical. I'm like, my mom's critical. It's like the more you're able to converse with other males about like the situations that are similar to yours, the more you start to heal and the more you see yourself in them and the more you're able to grow. And so like as I related and went through these soul healings, the more like God was just like, wow, like all the things that I lacked growing up or I felt that I lacked, like God started to bring like father figures who were like much who are more emotionally present than my father. You know, like even tonight I ate with someone for my birthday. I literally just like met him in the car and he was Christian and he was like, you made my day because I was really bored. And it's like, wow, like it's like my own family, yeah, have felt like a stranger to me, basically. My own dad felt like a stranger. But like I could meet someone immediately and have a connection and like literally feel like you're family. You're my family for today. And like that's the beautiful thing about divine appointments is like you don't even have to know them for that long and immediately you feel like, whoa, like we were meant to meet, you know? I love you guys. So like all of this is just very deep and it's a lot of healing soul trauma, like we've all gone through it and it's hard. Well, by the way, I'm gonna return reply to your email soon. um but yeah, so today I turned 33. It's 3:41 a.m. and I just felt really led to just make this video and like because God wants to heal that inner child and like I for a long time thought I was healed. And God's like, wow, like, yeah, 32 years of neglect and absence, like, God's gonna make up for that. And God's gonna make up for everything that you've lost, that you didn't grow up with, the kind of love that you've always wanted. You're gonna get that. And it may seem very unfair that, like, wait, like, like sometimes I would literally just like see a little girl and like their dad like holding this little girl's hand and I'd be like, what the hell? Like that is so unfair. Like why didn't I get that, you know? And like I just felt that like even as I like started to meet people or like go on dates, like there were these like this feeling in my heart. Like my heart would open up and be like, oh my god, I'm holding someone's hand. This is the feeling that you're supposed to have. This feeling of security, this feeling of love, and it doesn't even have to be anything physical, but like a hug, right? Like I literally like if I like someone hugs me, I can immediately cry because I feel loved. And so like there's places in our hearts that God wants to heal that maybe he'll just bring someone to hug you, you know, someone to encourage you, someone to love you. And it's like there's the smallest things to other people, but it means a lot. And so like, you know, I grew up in a Baptist church where like I kind of felt like there were so many like weird rules to dating. And what God showed me, like, God really broke my religious views on dating. I didn't even think that guys and girls could be friends or should be friends. And for a few months, I had a guy friend that like basically kind of served as a father figure. But I was like, God, what's the point of being friends with him if like he's not my husband. Like I don't even have feelings for him. I'm not attracted to him. But my heart would be like, go see this person, spend time with him. And like God showed me like it's unconventional and it doesn't make sense, like especially to like other Christians, but this is what your heart lacked growing up and this is what you need. You want to converse with a male figure because you didn't have that growing up, and that's okay. Or like you go on a date with someone and like you just like you'd like end up cuddling, right? Like not doing anything sexual, but just like cuddling. And it's like that's something that you craved and didn't have growing up. Like it could be something as small as like someone stroking your hair and you're like, oh my gosh, like this is something I've always wanted. And you start crying and you're like, what? You know, so it's like small things like that where like God started to break down a lot of like these religious views I had on dating, and God started to show me like like it's like this is me showing you love and this is you experiencing love, and it doesn't even have to be like your future husband. Like maybe it's just like someone you met and then like you're like, oh, I experienced love through this person, and that's cool, that's good, that's a good thing, because God is constantly like um breaking down the walls in your heart. And vulnerability is not easy, it's hard, you know, sometimes. But I think through all the dates I've been on and all the people that I've met, it's like love is not, it's not just like a one-way street. It's not just like, okay, cool, you sit there and you just magically meet your husband. It's like I've literally like met a lot of people. I've met a lot of people in my lifetime, but especially last year, it's like God really showed me like the dynamics of relationship, and he's shown me the beauty of relationship. And like hearing all the stories that I've heard like about people's past and their lives and cheating and not cheating and divorce and kids and all this stuff, like it showed me like, yeah, like it's not like, I think in our culture it's like, oh my god, he cheated, oh my gosh, she cheated, or like this or that happened, and you think that it's just like one dimensional, but it's actually like multi-dimensional. And when you hear the stories from that person's mouth, you realize that it's much more than we can even comprehend. Like there's reasons for why people do what they do, and it's not just like one reason. It's oh well, you know, she didn't want to have sex with me for 1 year. She didn't want to open up to me. She didn't want to be emotionally open with me. And it's not just like this blame of like, oh, it's that person's fault or is this person's fault. It's like, I mean, I've been on hundreds of Uber rides, so I've heard a lot of stories. I've probably met like thousands of people, probably 1,000 people, probably thousands of people last year. So it's like, um, you learn and you're like, wow, like I can demonize a male or I can see their point of view. It's so easy to demonize someone, right? And be like, oh my gosh, like they're just awful people, they're evil. Then you're like, oh wait, their parents were like this, or their parents were abusive, or their parents weren't around, and then um it's like I want to a lot of times just like block someone out and be like, no, they're evil, they're horrible. You know, I just want to block them out and not give them a chance. But then like God will show me like, no, like they have a story, they have a reason why they're rude or why they're mean, or you know. And it's like I can come down to that place of like, God, I just want my heart to be open. If they harden their hearts, that's on them. But I choose to have an open heart because I want to experience love. I want to be receptive to love. I want to be malleable, you know? Oh, amen. So yeah, someone just said right before you made this video, I was crying about my dad too. So trust me, I definitely understand God will send us father figures. Yeah. And so like one of the another religious thing that God broke through was like there's times like I would hang out with like Uber drivers or divine appointments or whoever, and it may look strange, right? Because you know, they're like much older and it's like, oh, that's weird. Like, and it's also like overcoming this fear of judgment. Like, okay, why is this person like hanging out with someone who's like much older than her? Like like what's the agenda here? Like what's going on here? But it's like receive everything God has for you. Say yes, ask, and you shall receive. So like even in that moment today, um, I started talking to the Uber driver and he was like, oh, I'm Christian, I grew up Catholic, and I heard go to the Abbey, and like I was like in my mind, I was like, dude, I was like, I want to talk to this person more. Like, God has always told me, follow your heart. Like, I want to talk to this person more. Hey, do you want to go? Like, do you want to go eat something? Like, follow your heart. And it's like sometimes we think our heart is wrong because we've gone through so much hardship and heartache. But it's like, what is your heart wanting? And like, don't neglect that because society may tell you like that's wrong. Like, why are you eating with someone much older, or like I've even hung out with people who are married and it may look really strange, but it's like no, like that's not the dynamic of our friendship. Our friendship is not what you think. So like in society's eyes, there's a lot of things that may look wrong, but like remember that like what God has for you is good. And so I just want to encourage you that like don't allow like society's point of view or like even religious views like hold you back from what you want. Like you want to just talk to someone like a male figure, just go talk to them. Like I used to honestly like not even add strangers on Facebook or like even talk to guys on Facebook. Like my ex best friend, she would talk to guys on Facebook. I'm like, oh, what the hell? Like, and like people did online dating. I'm like, ugh, like why would I do online dating? But then like God started to open my eyes because I actually had a dream about online dating apps, and he showed me get ready, like, and there were all these faces of men just swiping. I would just kept swiping and God said get ready. And I've had tons of divine appointments. I've had um just so many sessions of healing and just understanding like their stories. And like if you open your heart and you don't see them as, oh, this like guys are creepy or guys are like this, and you start to open up your heart and it's like, hey, they have a story too. Like it's not just about getting to the end goal of marriage, or like if this person isn't the one, I'm not even gonna go on a date with them. No, it's not like that. That like there's an opportunity to open your eyes, to understand how to communicate with a man, to understand how to speak up when a man talks too much, whatever. Like I've had to interject and be like, hey, look, I feel like you're talking over me and you're not really listening to me. Like I've had to like learn how to be assertive with a male. So there's so much to be learned. And I think that because we're so like narrow in our thinking of dating that we don't even try, we don't even meet up with people anymore nowadays. Like I've heard of so many stories of like people they like don't even want to meet up in person. And I'm like, what? Like what's the point? No. It's like don't be afraid to talk on the phone. Don't be afraid to meet. Like we've lost the art of communication. And when we come back to that and we're like, okay, like how do I express how I feel to a person? How do I be honest? How do you even turn down a person? Like all of this, like I've had to turn down a lot of people. I've been turned down. Hi, happy birthday. Thank you. So, but anyway, so this has been a really, really long video, but like the full version is on YouTube, The Beck Show, but like there's a short version on Instagram Live. So anyways, that's it. God bless you. I gotta go sleep. Bye. Who's that? Bye. Good night. Who's this? Amnesia? Oh, let's see. Wave, wave, wave. I don't remember. All right. Let's talk another day, Amnesia. Bye. Good night.